Okay, so let's get started. We're going to be taking a look at understanding the fundamentals and the concepts of spark timing in this training tutorial. This is going to be applying to any type of standalone or factory ECU that you may be calibrating and tuning on a piston engine, so it's not going to be Motec M1 specific. We're jumping into this tutorial and covering these basic concepts so you have a frame of reference as we move into future training tutorials in this training course that are going to be Motec specific and understanding the fundamentals of spark timing. I find that a lot of students, as they get into EFI tuning for the first time, have a lot of trouble understanding spark timing and what it represents and what you're actually trying to do. Airflow, fuel tuning, that seems to be pretty straightforward, that concept, but spark timing is treated more as a black magic, so to speak, than going in and calibrating and understanding what exactly you're doing. So let's jump in here and let's take a look at what we need to understand for working with our spark tuning and spark timing in general so we can move forward into our future training tutorials. So what we're going to do here in this training module is move from our fuel tuning page over here into our ignition tuning page. This is going to have our main spark timing table within this page, along with a lot of other tables, time plot, and information here in our channels list that apply to tuning and calibrating our spark timing. Now, what we're going to do before we jump into talking about the specifics in our table, we need to understand the fundamentals as what's going on here. What do the values in our table here actually represent? The best way to describe this is to actually use a nice video demonstration that I have of an engine going through the 4 strokes of operation, and then we can clearly see the spark event and understand what we're trying to accomplish. So let's jump into that right now. What we're going to find in this video demonstration is that we have a dual overhead cam engine, and this is just kind of a generic overview of looking at a typical piston engine, but this is a dual overhead cam engine. So we have both an intake and an exhaust cam. We find that we have our intake valve, we have our exhaust valve, we have our piston, we have our bore, we have our crank, so we can see just the basics that we have going on here. Now, what we'll find is on the intake stroke, we're going to be pulling the air and the fuel into our engine. We'll see that the piston is going to be traveling downwards from top dead center to bottom dead center. Now at bottom dead center, it's going to change its direction and start going up on the compression stroke. That's where it's going to be compressing the fuel and air mixture within the cylinder. Now, somewhere along the travel, as the piston's moving upwards towards top dead center again, we're going to fire off our spark plug. And that value that we fire off the plug is going to be called out in our main spark timing table. And the values that we find here in our main spark timing table are going to be degrees before top dead center, or BTDC. So if you have a value of something like 30 degrees BTDC, we're firing off that spark event 30 degrees before we reach the top dead center point within the piston travel. So it's giving the Motec a frame of reference of where we want to initiate our spark event at. Now, once we actually go ahead and create that spark, and in this particular example, that's happening right around top dead center, or the equivalent value in our table here of approximately 0 degrees, we're going to find that we have our flame front propagate, and we have that combustion, that explosion event that happens. And that's going to force the piston downward on our power stroke. And what we'll find here is that what we're trying to do as we're dialing in our spark timing is reach what's known as maximum brake torque timing. And that's going to be where we have a certain value of spark timing that we fired off our spark plug at, that's going to generate the peak pressure to push down on that piston and rod assembly on our power stroke right around, and having that peak pressure happen right around 15 to 20 degrees ATDC, or after top dead center. That's what we reference when we're talking about the spark event when we're going on our power stroke. That 15 to 20 degree marker point is going to give us the greatest mechanical advantage of translating the pressure through the piston, through the rod, to push that crankshaft and spin it to generate more horsepower and torque. So at any given time, we're trying to optimize our spark timing to reach that maximum brake torque point. We take a look here on a graphical plot just to kind of illustrate this. We'll find we have one axis that's based on engine torque and the other axis that's based on spark timing. Now in this case,
thanks for checking out our teaser clip. If you want to see the rest of this video and more than 500 hours of current EFI training we have to offer, make sure you click right here. If you want to go and check out more teaser clips from this training course, click here, and you don't want to miss any of the videos we're going to be releasing on this channel, so make sure you subscribe and click here. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.